We all have unlimited potential to do and create anything that it is that we would like in life. The thing is, we get stuck. We get stuck and we get blocked, and being stuck and blocked is a universal thing, no matter who we are or where we're from. Hi, my name is Stella with Stella Luna Yoga, and today we're going to unpack why we get stuck spiritually on our life and what to do about it. So, we all have unlimited potential. It is the very first law of spiritual success. I remember reading this in Deepak Chopra's book years ago about unlimited potentiality. And this is why people like Tony Robbins can literally go from nothing, literally nothing, to multimillionaires having thousands of people listening to what they say. Because at the end of the day, it's really a mindset. And we all have it. The thing is that we can get stuck in almost anything at any time in our lives, no matter how successful we are in any particular part of our life. So this is a universal thread of being blocked or getting stuck. And in the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, say that 3 times fast, there are ways that we know prohibit our spiritual growth. So let's all take a deep breath together, a big inhale and a big exhale, because we've always got to start this with a prayer. And to infinite source of all divine creation, Om Guru De Namaha. Thank you for this opportunity to be here. Please allow me to be the conduit to speak to the ears that they can hear, not just hear, but use this information in their lives to change their lives, to transform their lives swiftly, swiftly. And so it is, and it is so. Aho. So there are 2 ways that we all get stuck. One is a very specific thing. Say we've been trying to do a thing, like I'm trying to lose 10 pounds. I'm trying to get my down dog. I'm trying to fix my knee. I want more numbers in my bank account, whatever that is. Maybe you've been trying to play the same song on the piano and you just can't seem to get it. So there's one that's very, very specific. Then the other one is just like, I feel like blah. And I don't really know what's missing, but I can't seem to figure out what that is. Like this existential, like dread of just like things feel boring. Either way, the way that I like to look at it is one, if we take the word stuck and we change it to fear, if we take the word stuck and we change it to fear, it really will change the mindset around it. Because the truth is, most of us are just running away from pain all of the time. And we don't even understand that we're running away from pain because we think that we've done everything. We've done absolutely everything. I've exhausted myself with looking at ways to fix said problem and I can't see it and I can't figure it out. And so then we might just throw our hands up and be like, well, I guess it just is what it is. So if we understand that it's a belief system and that the truth is that we're actually getting what it is that we want, because the subconscious mind hasn't changed, whatever it is in front of you is not going to change. So with Tony Robbins as a good example of that, he had to change his entire belief system in order for him to move forward and become who he is today. And if he didn't change his belief system, then nothing would actually change because you're going to stay in the same relationship. You're going to keep playing the same song. You're going to keep playing the same song over and over again and never get it the way that you want it to be. Changing our belief system sounds a lot easier than it actually is. And it is actually possible. And we know that it's possible but we still like have the block and can't figure out like how to get over that hump. So also the other way is that when we get stuck, it's usually just momentum. So the CIA, that's how they use it. They call it momentum. And so if there's something that you want that you can't get, we make micro movements towards it so that you actually start getting momentum and it's moving, and then it can snowball and change. So we can do a friction audit. A friction audit is taking every single little thing that bothers you and writing it down. So if you have something now that you'd like to put in the chat, awesome. Otherwise, I invite you to do this as an exercise with yourself, to give yourself some time to literally be like, I hate this thing. I hate that. I don't like the way I put the laundry away. I don't like that I have to, still work part-time, and then I'm trying to go to yoga and I'm trying to do this, and I hate that I miss my children or I don't talk to them, and whatever it is, like make a list of everything that is causing you friction in your life. Make a really big list of everything that you don't like. Then you can look at those things that are making your life difficult, and you can apply micro actions to get to the bigger goal. Often we're just not giving ourselves these little tasks to do throughout the day or the week to get us into the month. So it's January 8th. I'm trying to math right now, 350 some days, 40 some days left of the year, right? And so we started counting down. I wish I knew that on the top of my head. I can't math in my head like that. Counting down the days and understanding that I have 65 minus 8. Rob, what's the math? Wait, 365 minus
Minus 8 is 357.
Anyway, I have 365 minus 8 days. So 353 days, something like that backwards, right? And so if I have 353 days left, like I'm counting it out loud, I've got 353 tasks to do. And if I do this one thing for 30 minutes a day and I apply myself to it, right? Or I'm going to go to cycle 52 times this year, which would be 52 hours in the year. Some weeks I might go twice, some weeks I might not go. But at the end of the year, I will have accumulated this thing. So goals are really important to give ourselves tasks and time to have it done by. And when we're not doing that, then you're going to feel the ugh. You're going to feel the drudge of the blah, and then not feeling successful or like you're stuck or you're blocked. So in the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, there are the 6 ways. And the 6 ways, the first one is about food and about understanding how we eat. And I love to apply human design. So if you don't know your human design, I highly recommend you just go online and look up free human design chart. You got to know your birth time, and it will tell you what kind of food you should eat. The human design is the next level of astrology that brings astrology, Western astrology, Eastern astrology, the Tao, the chakras, all into one place. And it's a beautiful system, which I do not have time to explain today, but it can really change things. And when you understand what kind of hunger you have, it will change your eating patterns. You could be cold thirst, you could be warm food, you could be alternating. You might need to eat in a calm place, you might need to eat in a busy place. So you're going to look that up and look specifically for your food. So the yogis say that it's also about consuming too much food. I don't know that we like generally have this big problem of like overeating. But we also need to understand that we need to take breaks. So, the first part of eating is understanding your eating style. This changed everything for me because I was taught in Ayurveda that I was not supposed to eat anything cold. But then I found out that I was cold thirst. And what that means is that cold, cold or room temperature really satisfies me. And I can have cold food. So, I became much more satisfied with my food when I discovered this, and it really reduced the need to have extra snacks, eat late night, or eat late at night, right? Because it's so easy because our food is so available. So, eating with yogis, there's a saying that like a regular person eats 3 meals a day, a good yogi eats two, an enlightened being doesn't eat, right? That we are able to fast for long periods of time. And we see that even with Yeshua, with Jesus, like you always fast before miracles happen, right? Jesus went out into the desert and then he would come home because he needed to collect his energy to be able to perform energetically. So he always did that. There was always fasting happening. And when we talk about intermittent fasting, which is like this big key word these days, I kind of think it's a little bit silly because the truth is, if we just ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner at a regular time, then we wouldn't need to intermittent fast because we would already be eating dinner at a regular time, or when our bodies were actually hungry. The thing is that because we work 9 to 5 jobs, we can't actually eat when we're hungry. We have to eat like on a schedule. And then we get really used to eating late at night. And then when you're used to eating late at night, you eat late at night, it becomes more about comfort than fuel. So if we ate dinner at 5 o'clock and we didn't eat breakfast until 7, we'd automatically be not eating for 14 hours, right? Which could be an intermittent fasting window. So for those of us that have snacks readily available all of the time, it's really helpful again to give us like the direct, clear message that I need to not out eat for 16 hours. Everyone's going to be a little bit different on that, depending on your metabolism, how you process food, and where you are. So we always want to go slow and very gentle with yourself. Do not be like me. My first fast, I like just stopped eating. I did a master cleanse, it was called. It still exists, I'm sure, back in the day. And it was just like lemon water with maple syrup. And I remember trying to like go and teach like a step aerobics class, like at the gym when I had not eaten anything. I was super dizzy. I did not feel well. And I was like, I just don't think I can do it. Right. It was actually causing myself more harm than good. So low and slow is always the key for something that's sustainable and that works. And then a question that came up was like, do I have to do that every single day? And no, you don't. But what happens is you start to get into a rhythm. Eventually, that rhythm can lengthen because your body has gotten used to it and really your mind has gotten used to it. For years, I never ate on Tuesday. Tuesday was a really slow day for me, and I didn't have a lot of energy output. So I gave myself a break because if your digestive system is the only system that doesn't get a pause. And so it doesn't ever get to clean itself out. And everything always comes down to what we're digesting. So whatever issues you're having in your life, whether that's brain fog, it doesn't really matter what issue you're having. It always comes down to how you're digesting and processing on a biological level and a physiological level and an emotional level. And when we can adjust, fix, heal how your microbiome is working, how you're digesting and processing your life, then there's a snowball effect into how you're digesting and processing all of the information in your life. Pretty cool. I could talk just about this subject for a very long time. I feel like that's a good amount of information. And if you have questions, please drop them in the chat. I do really well with questions. The second piece in the yogi spiritual path that we can get blocked is overexertion. And that's just not teaching ourselves how to pause. And we often fill even our pause times with stuff to do. So what I mean by that is like we go from work to working out to doing our process to like, oh, now I've got to journal all of my friction in my life. And then I'm going to do that before I do this next thing. And then I'm going to take my shower and then I'm going to, use my oil. And pretty soon we're like overwhelmed, even in like, now I have to do my self-care practices. And then that even becomes like too much. So I call them scheduling do nothing days and or times where, oh, it's literally my time to like do nothing. And that will change for you as you start to have do nothing time. It doesn't mean that you have to sit in meditation or actually do nothing. It's just unscheduled time. I schedule my unscheduled time, especially with my life and like how busy it is. If I don't schedule time where I'm like, I'm doing nothing today, it doesn't happen. I don't just like sit around and enjoy my home and enjoy my plants or my cat or whatever it is, because everything always has to be scheduled. Like I schedule when I have to schedule everything so that everything gets done. And one way to do that is to schedule your unscheduled time. In the artist way, it's called an artist date, where you take yourself out to do something special. Like you just buy the flowers, or you are like, oh, I like this park. I'm going to take myself to the park. I'm going to go hit some golf balls with no agenda attached to it. There isn't any goal to be had. Because even in our vacations, I feel like we can like overschedule ourselves. That's why when we host vacations like our Bali retreat, it's really about like actually just relaxing. And we have lots of free time to do nothing. That's the point. Like just float in the pool, just lay down. And one of my favorite do nothing activities, since I was very small, highly recommended, is to just lay on the grass and stare at the clouds. And you like look at the clouds and you like, oh, I see there's a clown or a candy cane or there's a horse in the clouds, right? It's like so chill, because if we don't get neutral time, we can't get ideas. Yeah. If we don't have neutral time, we actually can't formulate new ideas that would push the needle forward to get us unstuck. That's why we just stay stuck all the time. We're like, well, I'm doing all of these things. I'm taking all my vitamins. I'm going to this place. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, but it's not working because you never give yourself enough neutral time where God can actually talk to you and you can actually hear what she's saying to you. So overexertion. And then there's talking too much, excessive talking. And it's not excessive talking like I'm excessively talking right now, but it's excessively talking about the wrong things. It's excessively talking about things that aren't super important, but we might think they're important. Um, my recollection in this moment is like I was hanging out with these women and they were talking about like towels. And not that towels are not important. Everybody needs a good soft bath towel. But I remember being, at this party and like it's really all we talked about was like towels and colors and things. And I was so bored because it's wasting your time talking about other people or mundane, superficial things instead of talking about who we are, what we want, and really connecting. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about like over talking, right? Like how many times a day do we talk about something that maybe doesn't even need to be talked about? Sometimes we need to verbally express ourselves. I'm a verbal expresser. I have to get my feelings out and I need to talk about them. It's very important. But then there's a point where I don't need to talk about it anymore and it becomes rumination. So that's the second part of like excessive talking. So if I've talked a problem out, the way that I did that is I would give myself a number. I'm allowed to talk about this subject so many times. And then I know that it has gone from expression and divine feminine prayer to rumination. That's the difference. So, divine feminine prayer, the way that we pray to the divine feminine is by telling her all of our problems, which is why feminine people need to verbally express. We're verbal, and verbal expression is really important. It's how we pray to mom. We go to mom and we tell her all of our problems. My kids don't call me when things are going well. My kids call me when something's terrible and they need me to fix it. Why? Because moms always have the answer. Don't tell mom what to do. She's already figured it out on her head. So the divine way to pray to the feminine is to tell her all of your problems. So we need to do that. It's divine white magic. However, if we keep talking about it over and over and over again, then it becomes the problem is the rumination getting us stuck and blocked and not moving the needle forward. The one, two, three, fourth, the fourth piece of how we get stuck spiritually is being in contact with the wrong people too frequently and often. I learned many years ago from this woman who was like 102 at this retreat center who had like survived the war and opened this retreat center. She was so cool. And one of the things that she said was that every week she would make a list of things that were working and things that weren't working. And she said, even people in her life. And it would be very difficult. But if there were people in her life that like weren't really building her up, like she would let them go. You've probably heard that the 5 people that you hang out with the most or talk to the most are who you are. So if you take a moment to just think about the 5 people that you talk to the most in your life and know that those are who you are. You are them. They are complete mirrors of yourself. So, whatever problems you see or how they're stuck, that is exactly where you are stuck, and why it is so important that you hang out with people that are better than you, or that you think are better than you, or that have something that you would like, or that have something that you would like. Another question. right? So it's really important that we're hanging out and putting ourselves in the right place with the right people. Also, going back to that conversation about like having conversations about Target, right? Which I love me some Target. Don't get me wrong, but I don't want to talk about that for hours, right? So that could be another exercise for yourself. And another way to do that, which I have an unstuck acronym, is like getting support with the right people. The fifth piece of the hatha yoga pradipika is that we are fickle in our minds, right? Like we're like not make a decision and we just keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And instead of just making a decision to do something and doing it and then change your mind, it's, well, maybe I should. Well, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should. Maybe I shouldn't. And it might not be about really big things. It's what gets us is like the little 1,000 paper cuts a day, right? Like should I leave 5 minutes early and go to the post office before I go to the thing, or should I go to the over here and then go to the post office? Right. And like it's the thinking about that like 5 times and being fickle about it instead of just making instant decisions. So that when it comes to big decision making, you can make big decisions easier because there is decision fatigue and we keep going back and forth. Your mind can never settle down. So each one of these is really about training our mind and making our mind our little bitches instead of our mind running the show. The mind doesn't get to run the show. The mind is your tool, just like your hammer or your yoga mat or your computer doesn't run the show. You teach the computer what to do. And the mind is the computer of your body, of your soul. And so when we get fickle, the mind cannot settle down because we're training it to get these instant hits all the time. And then we get really addicted to dopamine and the chemical reactions that happen with that because we're not built for that. And then my favorite is the rigid attachment. So the sixth piece of how we get stuck spiritually is being rigidly attached. And again, it may not show up as something big and bold, but it's something that we've done this thing this way and it works. And it works. So, like, why would I not do it that way? And we get rigidly attached to the way things are, which is why, like in yoga, we constantly try to find different ways to get in and out of poses. It really teaches us that all the time. So, how can I change subtly how I do things so that I do not become rigidly attached? Being open is one of the 5 qualities of the heart that I constantly come back to because we think that we're open. We're like, well, I'm open. But then we're going back to like, well, actually, you're stuck and you're blocked and you don't even know it. You can't even see it. Like you literally can't see that you're even blocked because you can't see what you can't see. You can't see what you can't see, right? It's like so simple. But if you can't see it, you need someone or something outside of yourself to show you, right? Which is why support is really important and also like divergent thinking. We often need someone to help us navigate and think differently. And that can also really come from, so how do we fix it? Is we come to a place where we're looking at it from a beginner's mind, from the child's eyes, so that we can have a fresh new perspective on it. So we can put a fresh new perspective on it. Like we have to be able to look at it differently than we have before, which can be very difficult, especially if you're stuck in the subconscious mind. And it's so easy to get stuck there and then to not be able to see it. So, using the mind as a tool, what you do is you actually just sit down with yourself and you have a conversation with yourself that's like, we're doing this right now. And you do it. And it's not an option of like, I can't see it, I can't remember. Like you say no, you talk to yourself, you breathe, right? I use drawing. So one way is, if I could draw it, what would it look like? So I don't have to be in the logical place. In fact, being in the logical place doesn't really work. But if you could draw it, what would it look like? Is the feeling fast or is the feeling slow? Where is it in your body? And using those three things can really help you pull out the gunk, whatever is stuck in there, whether it's a memory, a feeling, a pattern that's in the subconscious mind, so that you can then bring it forward and detach from it so that you can actually move forward. Dun, da, da, da. Questions, comments, give me some things, because I can keep talking. I can keep talking, because the thing is that you are only as good as the worst frustration that you have. That's another way to look at it, with your friction audit. So we talked about this friction audit, like writing everything down that cause frustration in your life. So most of us, it's going to be frustration. Some people will feel bitter. That's the other like key word to look at. So I'm going to summarize this. One, we all have universal potentiality. We can have whatever it is we want if we actually believe it. Most of us just don't believe that we can have it. We believe that our body is the way that it is. Our knee is broken. I just don't think like that. I just don't work like that. So we have a belief system that is stuck. We all get stuck. There are two ways to be stuck. One is a general feeling of blah. And one is, I've practiced this thing a million times. I cannot figure it out. Stuck is fear. And if we replace the word stuck or blocked with fear, we understand that it's a belief system. Oh, I'm just scared to like actually eat, right? Actually take the next step forward. And if we use momentum, or we change the word fear with stuck or fear with momentum, and we give ourselves micro things to do to get the momentum to go, then we have a reward system and we'll feel really good about it, because we're really just trying to always run away from pain, whether we know that consciously or not. We're all just trying to get out of pain all of the time. You have to be really hungry. If you are not hungry for change or for something to shift, then you're not going to have any momentum. And no one can make you hungry except for yourself. So whether your why is for yourself, for the people around you, for hungry children in the world, for kids that need to be adopted, whatever will inspire you and motivate you has to come from you, Nothing in the external can ever motivate you. You might read an inspirational quote, but that is not going to do it. It's just not going to do it. Feeling stuck also comes from like lack of expression. And oh, I missed this one in the summary. Good thing I remembered it now. Is identification of ego. We identify ourselves with that thing. Oh, I'm just this. Oh, I am that. And that is our ego. And we identify it over and over again, which also goes back to like the rigid attachment, number 6. So the 6, oh, then we have a friction audit. So your homework is to do a friction audit. You're going to sit down, you're going to write everything that you can hate in your life. And it's okay to be like, I hate this thing, right? Like there's nothing wrong with being honest about what you don't like in the world or yourself, right? In your world. You cannot like it. It's okay to do that, right? We can't get to the light without the dark. So the 6 things, and take your time on that friction audit. The 6 things are how we eat. You're going to use your human design to understand how you're actually supposed to eat. And don't eat too much and give yourself opportunity windows to rest your digestive system. Overexertion. We overexert ourselves in all kinds of ways by doing too much. And one really simple way to do that is to give yourself time to block out no time. It's the no plan plan. Have a no plan plan. It's really nice. The no plan plan. We talk too much about the wrong stuff. So we talk too much, excessive talking. We're just talking about the wrong things. So don't talk about the wrong things. I think there's a saying Socrates says that, I'm going to get it wrong, but it's something like, smart people talk about ideas, right? And stuck people talk about other people. So make sure that you're discussing things that are worth talking about and that you're not taking in a bunch of weird information from the television and getting programmed, because it's programmed. Contact with people. Remember that the 5 people around you that you talk to the most is actually who you are. Make sure that those people have things that you want or are like what you want to be like. The 5th is fickleness of the mind, just not making a decision to do something or not do something. And then there's rigid attachment. And rigid attachment is really easy to get stuck in. Even rigid attachment to like love and light and everything's good. And I'm going to be super positive about all of these things. Like positivity is really nice, but we don't want to get attached to anything. When we're not attached to anything, we actually have deep and real compassion. Compassion is where we can see something for what it is, and it does not need to affect us in a way that is detrimental. Sympathy is when we agree that we see this thing and we understand it. I'm sympathizing with you. That's terrible. It sucks. Empathy is when we actually feel the same thing. I've been through that too. I totally understand it. Real compassion is really hard. And it is, I see that thing and it sucks. And it doesn't need to bring you or sway you to an emotion. It doesn't mean that it doesn't. It just means that you don't hang on to it. That is real compassion. And that at the end of the day is why we're all here, is to have compassion for ourselves and grace for ourselves, to understand that we can't see if we haven't seen it, and that we're all going to be stuck sometimes. And there are ways to unblock yourself. So we have the benediction, a 40-day practice that starts on Monday. I really hope you'll join, because a 40-day sadhana is the best way that I have ever found. And it works because it's white magic. And we're actually using a very specific Kriya, which is a set of movements in a meditation where we are invoking our intention. We're invoking our intention. And when we invoke our intention, God's listening. And when we do it for 40 days, 40 days is time tried, tested. That's why we see 40 days and 40 nights. That's why 40 just repeats itself over and over again. And the reason is because in numerology, the number 4 is the 4 cornerstones of the home, of the square. That's actually solid. And when we do something for 40, we are setting it fixed. So you have to do the practice every single day, even if it's just in your head. This Kriya that we do, you can only do once a year because they say it is so powerful. What I can say is that every year that I've done this, I have watched my life expand in ways that I don't know why I didn't start doing it 10 years ago. Oh God, I missed it. But that's okay, because if you're not there, you're not there. But I really wish I would have taken this more seriously, because now that I've been doing it for a few years in a row, like, holy shit, this white magic works. And I like to say that I'm like pretty practical woo woo, which is like, I'm as woo woo as it gets. And like, I didn't believe that it worked, I guess. So I didn't do it. But now that I've been doing it, I'm like, oh, wow. Like, the things are actually happening that I have dreamed of. So we do it every year in January, and I hope that you will come. It's really great. The thing about Kriyas is that Kriya means action. And in Kundalini Yoga, is a different school style of yoga. And this system is created very specifically for your energetic channels. And each one of the Kriyas works with the meridians, the energetic marma points, the lines of your body, your biology, and the psychology of it. And it pulls it all together in one place, so that each system, your mind, the intellect, your body, and your emotional centers are all engaged at the same time for the same thing. Then they're put together in Kundalini Yoga for a specific result. They say that it's like Kundalini Yoga is so powerful. Doing Kundalini Yoga for 1 year is like doing hatha yoga for like 7. There's nothing like it. So Sobhag Kriya is specifically for prosperity and abundance. And that can be with money, but it also can be with health, with ideas, with beauty, with creativity, with just movement in your life, right? It's very specific. Like when I learned about HUD, HUD. My girlfriend's like, oh, HUD, but like, we're not supposed to do it too much. I would be like, all right. Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't get it. Because if you're not ready, you're just not ready. It's okay to just be like, well, I'm just not there. Like I'm just not there right now. It's fine. Like I'm cool with whatever. Like I'm good. There's nothing wrong with that. Um, but now that I've like done this for a couple of years, I'm like, oh wow, right? Like this stuff, doing this actually works. And so white magic works when you set the intention of the prayer with the energetic, intellectual, physical body all at the same time. And then you do the work behind it. So, like showing up for the Kriya is the work, which is why, like, manifesting for me for years, I sat down and I would write, like, I have the best relationship ever. I'm so happy. You know what I mean? Like fucking bullshit never worked because I never believed it. So the Kriyas work because all of the body centers are engaged, works at the same time. So it actually changes your belief system. It works with the subconscious mind because that's why mantra works, because it works with the subconscious mind.